Hello everybody, this is my video on factoring trinomials, and I'm starting off with the case where the coefficient for the x squared term is a 1, so in other words 1 times x squared. And my main goal is to show you how to read the signs, and so that's why I have 4 cases here. The first one is a plus and a plus, and then the other ones you'll see how they go as we move along. So let's go ahead and do this first one, and then we'll do the next one, and you can see the pattern we have with the signs. So alright, here we go. When we factor this, we know that we need an x and an x, because x times x gives us the x squared. Alright, now we have to decide what sign goes here and what sign goes here. So to determine this, what we look at first is this sign. We look at the second sign. Alright, and in this case the sign is a plus. And plus, having a plus here tells us that whatever sign goes here is going to be the same as the sign that goes here. Now, what is that sign? We only have 2 choices, right? A plus or a minus. Alright, so this tells us they're going to be the same because it's a plus. If it was a minus sign, it would tell us something different, but we have a plus. Alright, and what are those signs going to be? For that, we look over here, and that's a plus. So that tells us that we're going to have a plus and a plus. So this one told me that this sign is going to be the same as this sign, and this one tells me that they're both a plus. Okay, next step, we have to think of 2 numbers that when we multiply them we get a 2, and when we add them we get a 3. And that's going to be pretty easy, right? 1 times 2 gives us 2, and 1 plus 2 gives us 3. So let's do FOIL real quick and check our answer and see how this works. When we do FOIL, some of you may not be familiar with that, but a lot of books use this acronym. So this stands for first, so this is the first 2 terms. So x times x gives us x squared. And then O is outer, so that's the outer 2 terms. 2 times x is 2x. Then I is for inner, so that's the inner 2 terms. 1 times x is x. And then L is for last 2 terms. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, we can see we have 4 terms now, but the 2 middle terms are x to the first power terms, so those are what we would call like terms, so we can combine those. 2x plus x is 3x, and then we still have the 2. Alright, so this is not part of the factoring. I'm just using this to check and make sure our answer is correct. So this was what we got when we factored, and this is the answer we get when we multiply this back, and it matches this. So it looks like we did it correctly. Alright, but again, our purpose here is to learn how to read the signs. So let's go on to case 2. Alright, just like case 1, we need an x and an x. Alright, now just like case 1, our second sign is a plus, so that tells us this sign is going to be the same as this sign. However, unlike case 1, we have a minus here. So this minus tells us we're going to have a minus and a minus. Alright, now we need two numbers that multiply and give us 2. I think we've already learned that that's going to be a 1 and 2. And since this is a plus, these numbers should add and give us 3. And we see that they do. So again, we have a 1 and a 2 here. So how does this work? Well, let's FOIL it out again really quick and check our answer. So again, x times x is x squared. And then O is for outer. So that's negative 2x here. And then I is for inner. That's negative x. And then L is for last. So that's these. So that's negative 1 times negative 2. And what's a negative times a negative? We all know that's a positive. So it's going to be positive 2. Alright. Now, negative 2x minus x gives us the negative 3x. So again, we see how that works. We see how these numbers come together to give us that middle term that we had up there. Alright, so now I'm going to show you case 3 and case 4. I'm not going to spend the time to FOIL on that one and check the answer. But, so here goes. We're going to put our parentheses again. Alright, and before we get too caught up in how this is going to get factored and what's going to happen, let's just go ahead and get our x's down, get that out of the way. Alright, because we know x times x is x squared. Alright, now, just like case 1 and case 2, I'm going to go to the second sign, not the first sign. I'm going to go to the second sign. Alright, and this one tells me this is a negative sign, and that tells me that the sign that goes here and the sign that goes here are going to be different. Well, we only have two possibilities. We have a plus and a minus are our possibilities. So if these are both going to be different, then I'm going to get one of each. I'm going to get a plus and a minus. Okay. Now, this tells me, with this problem, just like with these problems, I'm going to come up with two numbers that we're going to use. Alright? And since this is a plus sign, it tells me that the bigger of the two numbers that I come up with, the bigger number is going to go with the plus sign. So let's see how that works. I need two numbers that when I multiply give me 2. We already see where this is going, right? 1 times 2 gives me 2. Now, since this is a minus, I need to subtract these numbers and get my 1. Up here, this was a plus, so we added these numbers to get 3. It's a plus, we add these numbers to get 3. Down here, since this is a minus, we're going to subtract these two numbers to get our middle term. So 2 minus 1 gives me 1. So these numbers work. 1 times 2 gives me 2. 2 minus 1 gives me 1. Alright, and since we have a plus sign here, the bigger number, which is the 2, goes with the plus sign. And then, obviously, there's only one place left for the smaller number. It goes there. Alright, and let's look at the last case. Same thing, let's start out. Let's put our parentheses. We know that we're going to need an x and an x. Alright, now, just like the previous case, our second sign is a negative. So that tells me I'm going to have a plus and a minus. Alright, now, two numbers that multiply together and give us 2. 1 and 2. And I need to be able to subtract these numbers and get a 1. Alright, now what does this negative sign tell us here? Well, before we said that if we have a negative, then that means we have a plus and a minus. And then we said that our bigger number goes with the plus sign because this is a plus. Well, we're going to have the same thing over here. We've got a negative sign, which tells us we have a plus and a minus. And then we see that our bigger number is going to go with the negative sign this time. Bigger number here went with the plus sign. The bigger number is going to go with the negative sign here. So that means we're going to have a 2 and a 1. So that's it. I would encourage you guys to FOIL these out and check the answer. And that's how you read the signs, and that's a big part of factoring. If you do this a step at a time, things will be a lot easier. So my goal is to teach you guys to read the sign and then pick the numbers that you're going to use. So I hope this helps, and I'll talk to you later.